and welcome to my channel. This is going to be a little sketchbook flip through. I just finished this sketchbook yesterday and I have been really wanting to share it with you guys. This is a Moleskine sketchbook from their art collection. So it's 104 pages of 165 GSM or 111 pound acid-free paper. It has a ribbon bookmark, an elastic closure, as well as an expandable inner pocket on the back inside cover. And it is not a watercolor sketchbook. This is the same sketchbook that you will have seen in my Sketching Daffodils video. So I don't know if you recall, but I talked about this sketchbook and my intentions for it and kind of the purpose of it in my creative practice. And basically it's a place for me to play with no restrictions, expectations, or limitations. And that has been just so liberating, for lack of a better word. And it has really helped me kind of grow my creative practice and really get to a place where I'm sketching nearly every single day, which is kind of the goal. I wanted to sketch every single day until I filled this book. And I didn't always sketch every day, but it was a good way to keep the momentum going. It's just been really nice to have a sketchbook that I can just pick up and dive right into painting or sketching or whatever without having to plan or worry about, is it going to turn out? Is it going to be good? What's the composition? Like there's a lot of planning that goes into a lot of my final pieces. And it's just so refreshing to have a place where I can just work quickly without any kind of like mental obstacles or like barriers in my way. So if you're feeling stuck in your creative practice, I recommend trying something like this, where you have a sketchbook or a pad or just some place that you've designated for play. It's a sandbox, and no one else is allowed to see the sandbox unless you want them to. So you don't have to worry about other people judging you or anything else. And just try things out. Do those weird ideas that you've been wanting to try, but you're worried that it's going to come out bad. And give yourself a little space, a little creative freedom, and some artistic license, and just go for it. And I really think when you let it flow without worrying about, is it going to be right or is it going to be wrong, it really helps get those creative juices going, get your mojo back, whatever you want to call it. I just think it's really helpful for your creative practice. I hope you like my little crazy sketchbook. So I started this on March 22nd of this year, and this was not actually the first thing I did. The first thing I did was this back page, just as a test page, testing out different kinds of inks, how it would handle watercolor, and just different kinds of pens as well. This is mostly a dip pen, which can catch and not write very well on some papers. All right, so let's start from the beginning. This is March 24th. Some color swatches. My water jar on my desk, a quick direct watercolor sketch of some flowers. This was inspired by Anne Lore of Following the White Rabbit. Grapefruit from Life Reference. Daffodils, which you probably have seen already. A little pear sketch, working from a reference photo provided by Peppermint Kimmel. And then I got some peppermint tea, which I don't like. I find it's too strong. And this is probably the beginning of my bee phase, I guess you could call it. This is sketching from a hyacinth that was growing outside in my neighborhood. This I never finished. Just playing around with using a double page spread. These were also flowers from my neighborhood. think this is a Canadian landscape. And then I did, this is gel pen and concentrated watercolors. Just kind of playing around with that. This I sketched on location at the softball field where my husband plays softball. More bees. Did I skip a page? No. This was done with a brush pen. More bees. This was my attempt at like just freehand sketching Notre Dame after I heard about what had happened. And then I have an unfinished painting that I started based off of this. Another little landscape, again in brush pen. I believe this is Kyoto, Japan. These were inspired by Candice Kumai and her documentation series that she was doing. She was over there filming a documentary, I should say. This time I made some notes about the colors I used and things. And that salt texture doesn't really work very well on this paper. Bluebells. I want to see the bluebells someday. Someday, Bluebells, I'm coming for you. Another quick sketch from the softball field. Just kind of freehand direct watercolor. Again, also from the softball field, and I did not finish this one. This was my attempt to paint the view out my window, and I'm not really happy with how it came out, and I was happier with it earlier, and then I started adding these shadows, and I don't know, I don't really like the way it ended up. I do like all this granulation, and this lavender color is very pretty. Some Magnolias. These were from a reference photo off of Pixabay. An onion that I sketched from Life Reference. Water lilies. Strawberries. These I sketched on a live stream and then finished later. If you're interested in that, you can check my IGTV for the live stream. This is my favorite brand of coffee, local coffee shop called Coffee Emporium. Forget-me-nots. These are some direct watercolor grape hyacinths from a photo I took myself out here in my neighborhood. And then I gathered some little flowers and clover and things, feeling inspired by the Line Lovers Garden Challenge. And every spring we have like this crazy like honeysuckle bloom because it's just everywhere, and apparently it's an invasive species here in Ohio, but I decided to sketch it, and I started filming and the sun was setting and it just didn't work out. This was for One Breath Challenge hosted by Electric Mirror, and the prompt was contents of my bag. And then this is another piece also for the One Breath Challenge, and the prompt was books. I'm really happy with how this one came out. It was fun. This was inspired by Liz Steele, who is currently in Italy giving her her sketching tours, and I've been to Assisi. I've actually been to this basilica, but I never tried to sketch it before, and I just felt so inspired watching her stories that I figured I would give it a try. I also tried the red line work, which I have since decided I don't like. Another Life Reference, and then I used a photo to kind of color the mug differently because all my mugs are white and boring. And I love this tea. If you haven't tried it, It's the sweet cinnamon spice. Another Italian landscape inspired by Liz Steele. I think this is somewhere in Umbria. I'm not sure the exact location. I used a photo from Pixabay. We tried a new flavor of coffee from Coffee Emporium, and this one is fudge and hazelnut. It's so good. It's like chocolate coffee. It's really delicious. If you're ever in Cincinnati, I definitely recommend it. This I started with just watercolor and then added the ink line work at the end. I really wasn't happy with how it had turned out, so I figured I couldn't make it any worse by adding the lines. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Flowers are really challenging for me. And then I did some blackberries. These are, again, from reference photos I found online, but it was inspired by a walk at our local park, because there were blackberries blooming all along the trails. This is again inspired by our park here, or Alt Park in Cincinnati, and this was just my attempt of recreating a photograph that I had taken, and I didn't do it justice. It's so much prettier in the photo. I asked people what I should sketch, and someone said a flamingo, so I decided to have a go at it, and I think it came out pretty cute. Another attempt at the view out my window. Poppies. I just wanted to sketch something bright and red. Unfinished hedgehog from just the other day. I think I want to put some grass and maybe some flowers around them or something, but I definitely want to come back to this. Hedgehogs are so cute. Some echinacea with a butterfly this time instead of a bee. Then this is one of my most recent landscape that I've done. This is of Gray's Peak in Colorado, again working from a reference photo off of Pixabay. And then the last page is this little chaffinch, which we don't have around here, but I thought it was super cute and a nice way to finish off my sketchbook. So I hope you enjoyed that. Oh, this is me testing some stamps that I got. Apparently they don't work very well with watercolor. And then you've already seen this page, test page. So, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this little sketchbook walkthrough. If you guys have any questions for me, or you want to know anything else about this sketchbook, please let me know. Feel free to ask, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.